Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. In this video, we're going to take a look at which civilization, including the expansions, has the best camels. If you're a paladin and you're watching, it's probably a dream come true. An entire video of camel armies being destroyed. For the rest of you, hopefully it puts some of the camel bonuses into perspective so you can take out those paladin armies more easily. Let's check it out. When it comes to best camels in the game, there are really 5 civilizations that are up for consideration. First up is the Saracens. They get an extra plus 30 HP from one of their unique technologies. Second is the Berbers, who have cheaper camels, reduced by 15% in Castle Age and 20% in Imperial Age. Third is the Byzantines, who have even cheaper camels, but are missing bloodlines and the final attack upgrade. Fourth is the Malians, who gain plus 5 attack from a unique tech in Imperial Age, though they're also missing Blast Furnace, so practically speaking it's more like plus 3 compared to the standard heavy camel. Last, and the heavy favorite, is the Indians, who have not just plus 1 of both armor and plus 5 attack against buildings, but also a completely extra upgrade to the Imperial camel. So those are the contenders. Now we have to try to figure out which one is best. The thing is though, it's an uneven playing field at the moment, because not all of them are benefiting from their bonuses at all stages of the game. I think we need to compare them in Castle Age and Imperial Age separately. We'll do Castle Age first. Saracens and Malians at this point are completely generic. They don't get their extra HP and attack until Imperial Age, so they're out of the running immediately here. The big comparison is between the Indians' extra armor and the Byzantine and Berbers unit discounts. You could reasonably defend putting those in any order, but let's look at it objectively. With equal resources and matching up all the different combinations, the winner is consistently the Byzantines, with the Indians losing against both. One-on-one though, the results are completely opposite, so we have a dilemma of what we mean by best camels. Does that mean individually or as an army? I would lean toward the latter so we don't ignore the important discounts that 2 of the civilizations are getting. The Byzantine and Berber matchup is especially interesting because it's the Byzantines' larger discount, completely negating the fact they don't have bloodlines. In reality, they're also saving the cost of bloodlines, which is another 2 or 3 free camels on top of this. Camels in Castle Age fight all sorts of units though, and let's take a look at how they do against some common enemies. Against pikemen, all 3 take a different number of attacks before going down, which leads to pretty different results one-on-one. Indian camels are always going to look good with equal numbers though, and if we have them all try to fight a group of pikemen with equal resources, we again see greater numbers is more efficient than stronger units. It's the same thing against knights. The more units you have, the greater the percentage of your army that is still around at the end. A possible exception to that is against crossbows. In that case, if we consider 3 groups of equal cost, the Indian camels will actually survive the longest, which gives them the most time to reach the crossbows and deal damage. We'll give a nod to the Indians that they may do better against crossbows, but overall I think we should stick with the original rankings and keep Byzantines as number 1 in the Castle Age. Now let's switch to the Imperial Age. We still have the 2 discount civilizations, but now there's one with extra HP, extra attack, and extra HP, attack, and armor all in one. In this case, I strongly believe there are 2 different rankings. There's the best camel as an individual award for whoever packs the most into each unit, and there's also the best army of camels given a limited budget. If we look just at the strength of individual camels, the worst is the Byzantines, which makes sense. They were already missing bloodlines, and now they're also missing Blast Furnace for the extra 2 attack. They can't even beat paladins one-on-one, which is kind of embarrassing. Next is the Berbers. At the end of the day, they're just regular fully upgraded heavy camels with some slow HP regeneration. Their cheaper bonus again doesn't factor into this particular list. Third is a tie between the Malians and Saracens, who both managed to achieve the same outcome, one by adding extra attack and the other extra defense. They both end up taking out the other in the same number of hits, so it comes down to luck and whoever gets the first attack in. If anything, we can give a slight edge to the Saracens because their extra HP will make them a bit better against archers. The best camel though is of course the Indians with their Imperial camel upgrade. It's not even very close. They have almost as much HP as the Saracens, almost as much attack as the Malians, and better armor than anybody else. With that hefty upgrade cost though, they better be number 1. So that's the individual rankings in Imperial Age, but what if we balance the resources? Well, surprisingly for me, coming in last again is Byzantines. Even with 28 units against 21, they couldn't win against any of the other civilizations tested. They do win against generic fully upgraded heavy camels, so it's not that you should avoid them in the late game, they just don't keep up with some of the elite camel civilizations. Next is the Saracens. They were pretty evenly matched with Byzantines with equal resources, but overall they held up a bit better against some of the higher civilizations on the list. As a side note, that puts them as the best camels of the non-expansion civilizations. Making camels more widely used has clearly been a priority in the newer releases. Number 3 is the Malians. Now matched up against the Saracens, they were almost even, as we saw in the individual rankings, but had a clear edge over the Byzantines that the Saracens didn't, so that bumped them up a bit in the rankings. Number 2 is Indians. They won every matchup with equal resources except for one, and that was against the Berbers. Fully upgraded camels and a bump to their discount put them over the top. With bigger scale fights on a budget, they're going to give you the most value over the long run. One-on-one, the Indian units are stronger, but once we balance out resources, Berbers tend to win with about 26% of their total strength remaining. Out of 25 starting camels, 12 on average survived, which are then able to go off and heal to full health. Even if we factor in population limit and do 20 versus 20 and add the extra 5 camels in after half the army is dead, they still win. To me, they're the only proper choice as number 1. I do want to give an honorable mention to the Chinese for saving on the upgrade cost towards their camels. Persians and Turks also get fully upgraded camels, which are certainly common to see given that Turks don't have pikemen. I also want to acknowledge I didn't really get to factor in the Indians' attack bonus against buildings here. It didn't really fit in this particular list, and it's mostly negated by masonry in the late game, so that's why it wasn't included. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.